You're at a party and things are a bit dull. Or maybe you're out on a date, someone that you've just met for the first time, and you're trying to get to know the person across the table from you. You've just moved into your new dorm room and you've been introduced to who you hope will become your new best friend. If you find yourself in one of these or countless other potentially awkward social situations, I've got just the thing for you. Top 5. Pastor Mary here at North Cross introduced this to me not too long ago. It's a game that you can play. Now, I'm not sure if she felt that we were engaging in some kind of socially awkward situation or not, but we went through this top 5. It was this idea of name your top 5 whatever. We did books and movies, hymns. So that's the idea. If you're having this kind of interaction, trying to get to know somebody, let me suggest to you top 5. Just give it a try. Top 5. Here's one. Top 5 places you'd like to live other than the place you currently live. If you're playing along at home, turn to the person next to you. Top 5 places you'd like to live if you weren't living in the place you live currently. If you want to share those with us, I would love to hear and know about your top 5. Type them in comments, text them to us if you have that ability. I'm going to give you my top 5 places I'd like to live if I was not living where I do now. Generically, I would just say anywhere near the ocean. Pacific Ocean, maybe more specifically, Southern California. If you really want to drill down to it, that would be a place I'd like to live. Because my wife, Catherine, loves the mountains, I'm going to go ahead and throw on Colorado Springs, somewhere around kind of that area, quick, easy access to the Rockies. We like that part of the world. I could live there. That would be a fun place to live. Probably going to throw on there Manhattan, Kansas. If you know me, we've got some ties to the Little Apple, so I'm going to put Manhattan, Kansas on there, part of my top 5. Now, and while I've not been, I suspect there is a slice of Ireland or Scotland I could call home. I don't know exactly where I would choose, but one of those places I think I could live there. For my number 5, my final spot, I'm choosing Sesame Street. Yes, I know, Sesame Street is not a real place. It's a television studio. It's a film set. But it's also an idea. Debuting in 1969, the television show Sesame Street has persisted because this idea of playing and learning and sharing as part of a neighborhood is compelling. It resonates with many of us who are drawn to the rich possibilities of living with others in ways that help us experience the best of humanity. If you haven't seen Sesame Street or seen it lately, all you really need to know is along the street, everyone is welcome. Whether they're monsters, people, animals, aliens, everybody comes together. Everybody's welcome. There's not one way to be. There's not one type of person you're supposed to be. Some of them, as I've already said, aren't even people, right? In fact, part of what makes life on Sesame Street so incredible is the variety of experiences represented there. The interest and the talents of all those who call it home, mixing and melding together. This is why I list Sesame Street as one of my top 5 places I'd like to live. And while it might not be part of a make-believe, or why it might just be part of a make-believe neighborhood, I am convinced that it could be real. I just might have to go so far as to create it where I'm at. I might suggest that that is part of what we are called to do as Christian people. That the kind of neighborhood we see on Sesame Street is the kind of neighborhood we are called to create in the world. Listen to the way Paul, one of the early converts to Christianity, writes not most, but lots of our Newer Testament. Listen to how Paul describes the life we're meant to live as Christians, the kind of life that might include this Sesame Street experience. I'm going to read from the letter he writes to the church in Rome. If you followed us from last week, we introduced some of this language, the beginning of Romans 12. I'm going to continue on in this letter, Romans 12, verse 9. Paul says, "Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge. I will repay,' says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Friends, this is the word of God for the people of God, and we say, thanks be to God. What a picture, this idea of what the Christian life can look like. We might even say what it should look like. Love others. Share with those in need. Serve one another. Hang out with people others avoid. Enter into the lives of people so that you can feel what they feel. Do whatever it takes to make and keep connection with folks. If someone hurts you, keep on loving them so they can understand a better way. I love this passage. Romans 12 is this whole chapter is, I'm just going to be in it all year long. This is the kind of work that I feel that I need to do some more of. This is the kind of picture of what this Christian life can look like that I just need to hold in front of me, continually remind myself, this is what it could be. This is what I'd like for it to be. Now, I confess, I say I want to hold it in front of me because I don't always live this way. Most of the time, I don't love sincerely. Most of the time, I just tolerate people. It's the live and let live philosophy. So long as you don't mess with me, I'll just let you do whatever it is you're doing over there, right? You stay in your house, I'll stay in my house, and we'll just tolerate each other. It's the kind of life born from this individualism that we celebrate as our cultural idea, our cultural ideal. Just do it, have it your own way. You aren't the boss of me. This is how broken I am. People tell me to have a good day. My instant response is, I'll have a good day if I want to have a good day. You can't tell me what kind of day to have. There's a bit of me that reacts to people saying nice things to me by saying, who do you think you are telling me what kind of day to have? It sounds ridiculous. But that's the kind of relationships I think we've come to understand as normal. That's at least in my own life. Just tolerate each other. Don't infringe on anybody else's right to do whatever they're doing. The result is I don't get involved in the lives of my neighbors because I don't really want them involved in mine. I wave hello, I say hi. I'm friendly, but I have no idea about the struggles or the dreams of those who live next door or across the street. I've lived in my current home 6-7 years now. Well, we know most of our neighbors by name. Definitely by sight. We wave, we say hello. There's lots of opportunities to interact. Just recently, my wife was speaking to a neighbor next door. We're both getting some things done at our home. it was revealed that the neighbors, I've been living here, remember, 6, 7 years. We've had a number of conversations. We've had a number of interactions. I've picked up packages and kept them at our house until they got back in town, checked their mail, that kind of stuff. It was revealed that they thought I was a teacher. For 6+ years, they think that I'm a teacher. Now, I'm home a lot during the day. I don't know what they thought, what kind of a teacher they thought I was. And in a certain way, I guess I could be described as a teacher. But clearly, we have not had the level of interaction, right, that would have revealed that I'm a pastor. We go about our days, we can be friendly, we can wave and say hello, I can help get your mail when you're out of town, but do I really know you? Do you really know me? See, we just have this mutual agreement, I believe. Leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. We'll just tolerate each other. It's such a low bar when it comes to relationships. Maybe it's how you think about your coworkers. I don't really know or like them, but I can tolerate them for the few hours I have to be around them every day. I haven't connected with my teachers or the other students in my class. I go to school, I do my thing, I go home. I can tolerate those people for the little bit of time I have to be around them during the week. I go to the store, I keep my eyes on my list. I ride the streetcar or the airplane and I put in my headphones. I walk around my block, crossing the street if I see someone approaching from the other direction. We exist in the same spaces, but we keep to ourselves, or perhaps to our select groups. We live as if we are the most important people in our lives. Let's be honest, we're pretty okay with that. We're pretty okay with that arrangement. Again, it's a very low bar. I'm thinking of an episode of Sesame Street where no one comes out to play. The theme song goes, and they just open up to Sesame Street, and somebody opens up the windows, the curtains, peeks out, and closes them. That's the whole show. Nobody would watch that. If everybody was just living in their own little worlds, if everyone was just isolated and alone, nobody would pay attention to that kind of a show. I'm thinking about how we live that way, though, all the time. How each of us is isolated and alone, which is the extreme version of just tolerating others. We retreat into our own private kingdoms. So not only would I not watch that kind of a show, I don't want to live that kind of a life. I want to love and to be loved. I want to help and be helped. I want to enjoy life. I want to make mistakes and have others show me a better way. I want to be known. I want to play top 5 with folks. You see, on Sesame Street, this kind of interaction happens all the time. Differences there are not just tolerated, they're recognized and celebrated. The uniqueness of each individual is a cause and a means by which they are brought together so they can share those gifts. Combined, they become more. They become family. They become community. They become a neighborhood. Friends, that's not just an idea reserved for a children's television program. I want to suggest to you that's the way we have been wired. That's how we've been created. We too could enjoy that kind of life. Paul says, this is what it looks like to live like Jesus. This is what it looks like to love as Christ loves, to live for and with others, to play and learn and share together as a network of neighbors, connected in all the many ways we can be. I want to suggest this is to raise the bar. Instead of settling for this just tolerating each other, could it be that we actually begin to engage one another? I get it. That's a harder thing to do. That's why I say it's raising the bar. It's calling ourselves to a higher standard. It's suggesting that relationships are worth more than just the minimum of occupying the same space. That you have value and worth as an individual, I do not disagree. I do not dispute. But to live for oneself, and only oneself, is to settle for so much less than what is possible in the world. You see, neighbors are an opportunity to practice the love of Christ. Neighboring, to be a neighbor, neighboring then is the antidote to the poison of individualism. We can look out for each other, meet the needs that are shared. We can discover opportunities to pour into someone's life. We can offer encouragement. We can bring peace. We can express joy. These are the postures which lead us to a richer, more fulfilling life. Of course, it's easier not to do that. It's easier just to stay in our little protected bubbles. It's also easier, though, if we decide to take the risk, take the step. It's easier to love our neighbors if we know our neighbors. Those we live around and play and work with every day. It's easier to love them if we begin to ask about and discover what are their dreams, what are their desires, what are their fears and struggles. It can start with a wave and a hello, but don't stop there. We settle for so much less than what it could be. Yes, wave, hello, how you doing? But look for and wait for and encourage the opportunities to actually have a real conversation, to actually engage one another, to open up your life so that others might open up theirs. Exchange names and phone numbers. Deliver cookies and see if that leads to something like a shared meal. Rake the leaves and help shovel the sidewalk, and see if a conversation emerges. A couple years back, there was a pretty good snowstorm around the area where I live. Everything was shut down. Everything was impassable. Plows weren't coming down. It just wasn't possible to happen in the time frame that we were all, getting antsy. We were out shoveling our drives. And it turned out there were like 4 or 5 of us all out at the same time. And if you've been out on a winter day where it's really snowy like that, sound just travels farther. I don't know if it's the snow, does something to the sound. It amplifies it in some way. I'm not sure what it is. But I could stand in my driveway, heaving my, mountain of snow, and I could call across to the neighbors across the street, and we had this little conversation going, 4 or 5 of us out doing what we definitely love here in the Midwest, shoveling snow. I could have just kept my head down. It was, right? I could have just pretended like nobody else was there. They could have done the same. But on this particular day, this activity, being outside, shoveling snow, was the catalyst that could bring us together. Friends, those moments happen every day. They happen around us all the time. The question is, will we respond to them? Will we take advantage of them? If you get below the surface, I believe that you'll also get to pray for the knee surgery and maybe for the new baby. If you're open to it, you'll find opportunities to look out for each other. You'll find out that this person's looking for a new job and that person's got family coming in from out of town. If you want, you'll find the ways in which you can be neighbors for one another, the ways that you could help and support each other, the ways in which your relationship can deepen. And you'll be surprised by the opportunities you have to bless those that you're around. I recognize that this might look a little different during a global pandemic. I'm fully aware that with COVID surging, it's more difficult for us to engage in these ways. Let that not be an excuse for us not to seek and foster relationship. The world that we are inhabiting right now, this online experience, is a prime example. We can be better neighbors online if we're intentional about it. The things we post, the comments we make, the ways in which we share and engage with others. Could it be that during this time when it's more difficult for us to be physically connected, that maybe in this way we are able to practice what it looks and feels like for us to build relationships? We can use this technology in powerful ways to build neighborhoods, digital neighborhoods that can span the entire globe. Friends, let us not grow weary of doing good. Let us not give up seeking to love one another. Let us be creative and inventive in the ways in which we build relationships. Here again, this invitation that Paul offers us in Romans. This time I'm going to read it to you from the Message paraphrase, just another way to hear these words. Love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Run for dear life from evil. Hold on for dear life to good. Be good friends who love deeply. Practice playing second fiddle. Don't burn out. Keep yourselves fueled and aflame. Be alert, servants of the master, cheerfully expectant. Don't quit in hard times. Pray all the harder. Help needy Christians. Be inventive in hospitality. Bless your enemies. No cursing under your breath. Laugh with your happy friends when they're happy. Share tears when they're down. Get along with each other. Don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't be the great somebody. Don't hit back. Discover beauty in everyone. If you've got it in you, get along with everybody. Don't insist on getting even. That's not for you to do. I'll do the judging, says God. I'll take care of it. Our scriptures tell us that if you see your enemy hungry, go buy that person lunch, or if he's thirsty, get him a drink. Your generosity will surprise him with goodness. Don't let evil get the best of you. Get the best of evil by doing good. Do no harm, do good, love God, love your neighbors. It can start small. Just choose one neighbor to love intentionally this day, perhaps this week. Maybe you'll go crazy. Try a whole month. Just start there and love them. Who knows? Maybe we'll find that we all get to live on Sesame Street. Will you pray with me? God, you have placed within us unique and special talents. You make us individual. And God, it's easy for us to believe that that makes us special and set apart. God, help us to see that you've created us to need one another, that we are truly better together, that you've invited us into relationship with you so that we could be connected to others. God, I have this vision of heaven, and it's peopled with a giant yellow bird and a fuzzy blue cookie eating creature, right alongside men and women and children, those that we perhaps today just tolerate, but tomorrow we might love. Help this vision become our reality. Bring your kingdom to this earth. I pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.